How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I was really excited when I woke up this morning to see what the new 2022 Subaru BRZ was going to be. And part of me was satisfied and the other part of me wasn't. We'll get to the wasn't a little bit later on in the video. But let's start with what this vehicle is all about and what it looks like and the specs and all these things. So this is the new design, and I actually think it looks not too bad overall. It definitely kind of strayed away from what the original looked like, which could be a good and a bad thing. And we'll get into that right away here. The interior also changed quite a bit too. I think actually for the worse for the most part, aside from a couple features which I think look quite good. We'll get into that as well. And then the elephant in the room, the engine, which we will save for last. And you'll hear my opinions on it. So let's start with the styling. Things have changed a little bit. I don't think that this is a different chassis. I think it uses the same chassis as the other BRZ, but they definitely did change the visuals of the car in the inside and on the outside, as you could tell. I think overall the car actually looks really good. If you look at the side profile, I think that's the best looking part of the car, or the 3/4 view from the front or the back. The lines of the side, I think they did a really good job with. That little grill, if you will, or the scoops on the sides of the fenders in the front look very RCF-like, which is quite interesting. The rear taillights got a little bit of Honda NSX, I think, in its design, which is quite interesting. And the rear quarter panel also is quite wide. It looks like the flares are even wider than the previous generation BRZ, which is a good thing. Making this car's presence feel on the road is probably something that it needed, because with those skinny little tires that the original came with, it kind of made the car look a little bit underwhelming. So maybe the wider looking stance might be a good thing for this vehicle. Now the front. Let me take a sip of coffee because I kind of need to for this segment. The lights, I think, look good. I do like the lights. They're aggressive, they're sporty, but they're a little bit more premium looking. However, the front bumper, I think, is a little bit all over the place. I see what they were trying to do. They definitely were a little bit more creative in its design, which is definitely welcomed, but I think that the lines are kind of everywhere. They're not really there. The grille, honestly, I think the grille should have been a little bit lower. It should not have ended where the side grills kind of kept going. I think it should have just been a completely uniform design. And if you look at the original bumper that was on the Spy car, this is what the front pretty much would have looked like. Personally, I think that actually would have been the better option compared to what we actually got when it was released today. That's my opinion, of course. The good thing with the bumper, though, is you can change it out. And trust me, there are going to be a lot of bumpers from the aftermarket community that will be replacing the original there. So really, at the end of the day, it's not too much of an issue. Now, what about the interior? The seats look really nice. And I swear to God, Subaru, if you guys messed up the seats on this car, that's worthy of not buying the car altogether. Because those seats in the FRS or the 86 or the BRZ in the first gen were fantastic. They were probably one of the best seats you could really buy out there. Of course, aside from higher performance Lamborghinis, Porsches, and stuff like that. But the seats were fantastic. But the rest of the dash layout and everything, it looks not bad. It's a little chunky though. It kind of reminds me of like an old Toyota SUV, like a 4Runner or something, doesn't it? With like the very boxy dashboard and the vents that kind of pop up on the side. It's different. I like the touchscreen in the middle. That screen looks great. Thank God, obviously, there's still a 6-speed, so that's great. Thank you, Subaru, for doing that. But the interior, it gets like a 6.5 out of 10 for me on that one. Okay, so let's talk about some of the important specs. And let's start with road feel and response. So according to Subaru, it has an even lower center of gravity, which is great. 50% increased torsional rigidity and 60% increased front lateral rigidity. Now, to all us people who don't know what that means or who aren't racing drivers, that's a lot of percents, and that's a pretty chunk of a percent, so I'm gonna take that percent, yeah? It's got a quick 3 to 5 to 1 steering ratio. It says quick, so I'm assuming it's quick. Technology, everything that you would expect. I'm not gonna go over it too much here. Driving assist technology, pre-collision, adaptive cruise control, and Subaru Starlink safety and security features, and blah blah blah. Okay, here's an interesting one. Upgraded high performance wheels, tires, and brake. It's got larger 18-inch rims. That's good because the originals, they looked small for the car. So it's got 18s, which is cool. Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tires. That's a decent tire, and they've put it on there. So that's obviously gonna help with suspension, steering, cornering, and whatnot, and responsiveness. Now, the elephant in the room. The engine. It's a bag of mixed balls. I mean, a bag of mixed reviews. We got more power. Thank you, Subaru. You gave us more, you listened, kind of, but nothing more than a little bit more power. I mean, it's now 228 horses, so it's essentially 25 or so more horsepower than the original engine, which is good, but it's at 7,000 RPM, so you're gonna have to wring its neck to get as much power as you can. And apparently we've got 15% more torque at 180 pound-feet. If I remember correctly, I think the original had like 160 some, so it's, or 150 some, something like that. It's got a little bit more, but we're still not, see, this is the thing, this is what people don't understand. It's not horsepower, it's torque. That's the push you feel, right? That's what's going to propel you out of a corner. If we're only having 184 pound-feet at our disposal when we are exiting a corner to go and attack the next one, Super, what are you doing? Like, come on. Throw a little turbo in there. And I know what you're gonna say. Well, that's what the WRX is there for. Well, quite frankly, no one gives a shit. So what? It takes the sales away from the WRX. For those who love the WRXs and who are just die-hard Impreza fans, they will continue to buy that car. But for people who want a two-door, quick, mean, aggressive sports car, they're gonna go buy a BRZ. So put a turbo in there. Put a turbo in there. Seriously, for all you WRX owners, now you still don't have to worry. You never really did because you got way more power than a BRZ. But that shouldn't take away from the fact that you're still gonna buy the WRX even if the BRZ had a turbo in there. I don't know. I get where they're coming from. The purest design, the naturally aspirated responsiveness that a turbo doesn't give you. But 2.4 liters, 228 horsepower, you'll feel a little bit of a difference, but I don't have my hopes up when it comes to the way the car is going to feel. And I know what you're thinking. If you're one of these people who are gonna dislike this video, that's fine, you can. But you probably live in a country where you can't go to your work without taking 17 different hairpins or a ridiculous amount of 90-degree turns. I come from a city where the roads are pretty much like this. The BRZ is literally gonna be, it's gonna feel the exact same as the other one. So what would I rate this car out of 10? And it's not out yet, so do bear this in mind. Because of all things considered, what it could have been, what it should have been, the improvements they made, and some of the faults I think that they actually introduced to this year's 2022 model, I'm gonna give this car, I want to say 6.5, but I'll give them a 7 because they still kept a manual transmission. That's as much as I can say. Anyhow, hello, rant's over. What do you guys think of the new 2022 Subaru BRZ? Are you a fan? Let us know in the comments section below. If you did like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. All automotive content related, of course. And leave a like if you did like it as well. If you disliked it, well, I guess you can dislike the video. That's what a democracy is all about. And don't forget to tell your friends about me and my channel as well if you like supporting small YouTube content creators. Anyhow, guys, we'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for tuning in. And hopefully the next time we speak of the BRZ, we'll be driving one in the near future. Catch you later, guys.